For real.
We'll try.
So, oh Lord. So we just recapped 6 by accident. This is awful.
That was
Oh,
good because I think that gets
This
us
is a good
all in the
warm-up.
mood of that gets us all in the headspace, right?
Warm
We
up.
all
Yeah,
know
I
where
think
we're.
you're right.
And it also puts us up to, like, we know where we ended. And it may be bleeding over one way or the other, but still. I'm actually, I'm in YouTube right now, thinking about fixing that right now. So I'd never do that again. But I'm going to wait.
Okay.
So since we're doing kind of a new episode, yeah, you're right, Coward. I did have to poop. I have a turbo bladder or turbo colon. What we're doing tonight is doing a recap of episodes 7 and 8. What we just did was technically a recap of episode 6, but that was a warm up so that we can accurately and entertainingly and funly do a real recap of episode 7, which is what you're listening to right now. Listen to Brox and Marine Lords every Wednesday, early on Sundays. If you're a Patreon member, listen to Almighty Podcast on every other Monday, where they're reviewing My Hero Academia with Adam and Atkins. So,
Who's your favorite character?
Adam, Subman Atkins.
Still.
Bill?
Jeez.
Yep.
Gonna have to tell Atkins to get on the ball.
I don't know where this Atkins dude lives, or I've already compared him to Adam in many different ways, specifically height. So apparently, where episode 6 ended was in the trap with a candlestick.
Yeah.
With Mr. Plum.
Yeah.
Actually, did we? I think it. Did the trap go off and you do the "we'll see you next time" thing? Was that
No.
the? No, that wasn't.
No,
We did.
no.
we did-
We
we did
opened the
find the
door at
secret
the end of
room.
the hallway.
Yeah.
And that's where he cut the episode. I remember that now.
For some reason I was thinking
Because
that
it was
the one at
trapped.
the one at the other end was trapped too.
So the hallway was trapped with the little flip grindy trap
Yes.
of terror.
Okay.
And then the door at the end of the hallway was also trapped with like an
Yes.
evocation spell or something.
Well, that was part of the door. It's
That's-
specifically
right, of course.
specific to the door's letter. So that's something that you guys kind of figured out early on. That was each door had a specific trap associated with it. After just exploring and looking at the different
Each door letter.
each door letter had a different trap with a different effect. Most of them were magical, but one of them actually was mechanical.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're right. It is trap, but it wasn't like a separate trap. It was part of the door.
Of course.
Oh, I'm showing the map. Sorry.
Oh no. And Tarathiel was actually, I mean, really good considering the difficulty of these traps. Got you guys around, you know. And I think I want to say at this point you had unlocked 2 of the same letter.
Yes.
Because
When we go through this door here, this first one was a J, and this one here is a J.
Okay. So I remember.
Sorry, this one's an I. This one's a J. The reason why we went through this one is because we'd already unlocked another J.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was reading through prepping for this adventure, and the spirit of expediency and oh my godness, I gave you advantage or something whenever.
Yeah, because I'd already unlocked one like that. Yep.
Right. So it became easier and easier once you'd unlocked the door. You understood. You grokked the door, and are able to unlock it with a much and the DC dropped. Like the advantage of the DC dropped. It was just easier because, I mean, behind the curtain, it sucks just to do a slow slog through a dungeon, trapped door, nonstop. Like, God, I mean, that just gets really, really boring. So, I was trying to look for ways to make it easier and with good reason, in-game reasons for it to be easier for you to get through some of this horrible crap.
It's funny because I think I've discussed this a couple of times. There's always a balancing act between trying to be entertaining and push the story forward while also trying not to get your character horribly murdered. So there's been a few times when Tarathiel has just like pushed forward because like, hey, we need to keep this thing moving, and then
Yeah,
just
yeah.
gets in dire situations, which is now just becoming part of his character that he's just impatient.
It's funny how characters develop over time. Like you have
He's
this idea how they're going to be,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you play a good 6, 10, 12 hours, and all of a sudden their personality and their character emerges.
Yeah.
And that's part of the fun of new characters is discovering who they've become based on
Sorry, Heath.
what you
I'm
really
sorry, I
thought.
muted you.
you muted Heath.
Yeah, I was playing
Stop
with
him, he's gone
settings
mad
on,
with
on
power.
Skype,
Am I,
and I muted.
am I unmuted now?
Yes, you're good.
All right.
Have you been
Sorry.
talking this entire time?
No, it was just a second ago. I was trying to do something and I clicked the wrong thing. Don't give me any power. I don't know why I'm running the bloody stream.
What does this button do?
What does this
Ooh.
button do?
What does this button do? Ooh, my computer's rebooting. Back in
Oh
a second.
my god!
Eject mic. Click. No.
Jesus, well, what button did you push?
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Interrupted your train of thought there.
That's all right. You got through this other door, and this large, massively big room to the left
Mhm.
is what you stepped into. So it's always interesting to hear experiences from the players versus what you remember as the DM, because generally it's the same, but like 45 degrees off. What do you remember about this room when you first walked in? Do you guys remember? This is the throne room, if that helps.
Mhm.
If you've forgotten what
Yeah.
this was.
I remember that there were petrified trees and frescoes with complex gears.
Yes.
And there
So
was
the-
some kind of face or something on the
So
wall.
Or
The-
bas
the
relief. Bas relief?
petrified trees are actually the pillars. They
Yeah.
look like petrified trees.
Okay.
Because I
I
remember
remember-
hiding behind one.
What's that?
I remember hiding behind
remember-
one.
Yeah.
The slot machine throne.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was an old gnomish king sitting in that throne. Remember?
Which we knew was an illusion because I had detect
No.
magic.
Not
No, we
you
didn't.
knew. Well, you detected illusion, transmutation, and necromancy. Remember, you had all these things coming from that area.
Yes.
This was the episode where the don't put your butt on necromancy quote. was.
Yes. Don't
Yes.
sit in necromancy or don't put your butt on
Don't put,
necromancy.
don't put your
Don't put your butt on necromancy. Yeah. Because I said I really wanted to sit on that throne just to find out what would happen. Yeah, so we didn't immediately discover that the king was an illusion because Tarathiel threw a ball bearing into his lap to see if he could wake him up. And it just kind of sat in his lap until we got close and then realized that the ball bearing had actually fallen onto the chair.
Right. So through the nature of illusion, it still gives you the idea of, you still perceive things as it should be, but
Yeah.
once you saw through it, you saw it.
It seems like that magic would be wildly complex after a while, like to maintain that web of lies.
It's just
Well,
like
it's an illusion that's been here at least 75 years. Because remember, Keegan told you that they abandoned this fortress 75 years ago, in the midst of plague, among other things, which was interesting because I mentioned that and nobody picked up on it. He said that they left because there was disease and all this stuff, and nobody. I was obviously listening to episode 5, not 6, but listening to where you guys were talking to Keegan and Jenya at the St. Cuthbert's Chapel, and somebody asked about Jadaru, and he said, "Well, it was abandoned by my ancestors 75 years ago because of this disease and this and the other." And everyone's like, "Oh man, that sucks." And then it was kind of forgotten about until you much later found out what he's talking about. But we're not going to spoil too much.
was that the disease?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I thought it was.
Wah, 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 wah. If
Yeah.
you speak peanuts, I'm sorry. You know exactly what I just said. But
Uh,
anybody else? No.
Spoilers
The,
for all the Lucy's out there.
I want to say that there was something else in this room that we
There was a magic mouth. There was a magic mouth that
That's
said,
what
"If
it
you
was.
wish an audience with the king, place your finest coin in my mouth." Which we did.
We put gold in his mouth because that's all we had.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it ka-chinged like a pachinko machine.
Yes.
Yes. And that was it.
And that was it.
There was literally nothing happened.
but you made a perception check well enough to realize that it tumbled into the armrest of the throne.
Which
heard
we
it.
did not open.
You did
We
not.
tried.
Open.
Yes, but we moved on
Yes.
Yes, we did.
You didn't stay long in this room. I believe you went south
south. Yeah.
South
Yep.
from here.
into this large open room. Oh, that's not open. Why is that not?
I don't know.
Remember-
I'm not sure what happened with that little corridor, but
Let's reveal it.
Ah,
whoa!
Ah,
I
holy
was
crap,
not
that was easy.
expecting that.
I'm becoming very skilled.
Polygon.
I didn't realize just how much you haven't seen of Jean Rune. Quite a bit.
You could just reveal it now. That'd be fine.
Yeah, give us the treasure and
The cliff
Nay.
notes, yes, and the items.
So
Just
off
well, go ahead.
do what?
I almost did another spoiler thing, so go ahead.
Off the top of my head, without looking at my notes, I do not remember what was in this room. I think it's the one that had the short pedestals that may have held artifacts at one point, but were probably cleared out.
They were cleared out. Yeah,
Yeah,
was
it was a
dust-
pretty empty
dusty and
room.
Cobwebby from memory. The
cobwebby.
cobwebs, yeah.
It had all those pedestals, and the general idea was that the gnomes had grabbed all. It was like this is like a museum maybe, and they had grabbed all these ancient relics and artifacts and cleared out this room when they abandoned Jadaroon.
So I want to say that this trap went off. I'm pretty sure this trap hit Tarathiel while I was trying to unlock the door. Because this is the point when we decided, hey, what if we knew a gnome that was really good with locks? And we went back to the surface and back to Genya to try and find Gelv.
And he was gone.
And he was gone, yeah.
Yep, that's right. At the time, you didn't realize where he was, but you find out later in a couple of sessions later.
But Genya promised to send him to us if she saw him. And I think that might be the origin of how we ended up with Alma, is that, story-wise at least, that Alma showed up at the monastery of St. Cuthbert and was sent on to help us, as far as I know.
bring in an invisible water bottle.
That's how good an actor he is.
That's weird. I am truly a mime.
A mime is a terrible thing to waste.
Yes.
But quit shooting them. So I don't think a whole lot happened in this room.
I don't,
No,
don't
No,
remember a lot.
we moved on.
But this is where I think us dealing with the king and then getting through this door and getting poisoned or sickened or whatever the effect was, and then going back to try and find Gelv. I think that may have been that entire episode, because I'm pretty sure that soon after that. Oh no! Sorry,
No, you had a
we went
combat.
we went into the disco room.
Yeah,
Yes.
that
Yeah,
was
so-
without Alma for sure.
Yeah,
I was thinking from
because
here.
it was the start of the next episode when we were horribly beaten after this upcoming combat. But we decided to head back, and we met
Yes.
Alma at the stairs.
Yeah, you because it was the path of least resistance, right? There were no locked doors.
Yes.
You could just go. You looked both ways, more doors. Keep on going, more doors, and then you walked up to this room, and I think Tarathiel, no, Farazan stuck his head in here, and it was completely lit. Right? I mean, had these
Going
dancing
off.
lights everywhere. Yeah, it was a rave. But with a decent enough perception, you saw the
Yep.
shimmering bodies
Of
of what was
skulks.
it, like half a dozen
It was a lot.
spider monkey attack. Yes, there were I think a half a dozen of the skulks.
I think so.
Yeah, it was pretty gross.
It was at least 5. I think it was enough for Farazan to have dropped. I think didn't he fall? I
Yes.
remember we were standing in
One
this
of-
Yeah.
in this corner, and it was Farazan standing next to a bonfire.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and
I
think-
tried to plug the hole, and the skull said, "Skull don't give a fuck," and jumped in the fire.
I
well,
remember I remember Tarathiel running in and dancing around this bowl and trying, and then just noticing just how many things were in the room and just noping out. It's like, no,
Yeah.
run
Yep,
away.
he came right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
pretty much stood right there at that intersection and fought them off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fire, bonfires ablazing here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
The key thing is you were able to see the shimmering. I mean, they're invisible, but the way that 5e treats invisibility, you can somewhat like Predator,
Yeah.
just casual glance, you're not going to see them. But if they're moving around and coming up towards you, and indeed fighting you, you see a shimmering of an image, but
Yep.
you still have disadvantage.
Yeah.
You have disadvantage with every single attack because they were invisible. And that's pretty tough when 6 of your enemies all have this. You have a disadvantage to attack them. And I think that gave them advantage. They're
Yeah.
invisible; you can't see them. So you had
Yes.
disadvantage to see them. They had advantage to attack you.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a very, very, and they're not strong. Like they're 1 or 2 hit wonders, but the key is how do you hit them?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
that was,
Tarathiel had destroyed Gelv's grandfather clock to have a reflective surface.
that's right.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah. He
that's
just
right,
pulled
that's
the
right, that's
face
right.
off of it, and it had like
Yeah.
it didn't have like a family member or something like that engraved on it.
It's a
Yeah, yeah,
grandfather.
I
It looks like
vaguely remember
literally a
saying,
grandfather clock.
Yes,
Yes,
it
exactly.
was. As king as Papaw.
I remember vaguely saying something like, if we come back, then Khaldun can just repair it using his magic,
Yeah.
and if we don't come
Yeah.
back, then I don't care.
Sounds right.
Hey, Spider Monkey Attack in chat has asked what's going on. So it looks like somebody responded. We're recapping a couple of episodes that we lost due to download issues and hard drive issues. We didn't get them uploaded to YouTube. So we're doing this in the attempt to replace the lost episodes on YouTube, so we have a continuous stream. So, Mr. Monkey Man, if you are interested in watching all of these episodes, they're on YouTube. The Back Patio Network YouTube. I think we've got 24 episodes up there now. So check it out. We are just trying to fill in some blanks because we're missing an Alma tonight. She had an emergency. She had to step away, so we couldn't do a true new recording tonight. But thanks for asking. I appreciate it.
I like to joke that the episodes were like raided by skulks in between the two servers, like in between Twitch and YouTube. A bunch of skulks jumped the episode and ran away with it.
Ferreted them away.
It feels that
Yeah.
way very, very much. So this fight was pretty epic. Like I feel like it was a 30, 45.
That was a tough one. That was a real tough one.
And that was your first real tough encounter too. I mean, everybody else has bugged out. They like Rachel's fantastic now. They either ran away or you killed one and it took off, or it's just trapped. Like this was the first true challenge. And even back in episode 1 where you had some thugs, that was a 2-rounder because Khaldun did some sleepy action. So this was your first true challenge, and boy howdy was it.
I think this is also the first time that you were rolling death saves privately so that we couldn't see the results.
Yes.
And then we found out afterwards that Fezan had 2 failures when we got to.
Yes.
So one more failed save and he would have died.
Yes. And that's when I tried to come up with a way to have some transparency with my rolls. But I am transparent with literally every other roll I do. Just trust me when I do this. I'm going to do it completely 100% what I roll. So it's interesting. I feel like you don't know how dead they are, why would you? Like if you go up and do a medicine check, just getting that out there, I will tell you how many death saves they've done. But just eyeballing somebody, you know how, I mean, I've been a nurse for 20 years. I could look at somebody, tell you how dead they were. I'd have to do a little bit of assessment. So that's kind of where that comes from. So I will be doing all the death saves behind the screen.
I love it personally as a house rule. I think it's great.
Yeah.
As the frontline fighter who's been down at least 6 times, I don't like it.
Well, you did get something out of it later, so let's not spoil that.
That's right.
Yeah, thanks for that.
So yeah, I think this is actually where episode 7 ended.
Yeah,
I think we left.
You finished the fight. Some ran away. You killed most of them, but a few of them scurried off into the little holes
Yeah.
to the north, to the south. But you guys bugged out. You're like, oh my god, we got our butt kicked. The whole aliens. I don't know if you've paid attention to current events.
Yeah.
We got our asses kicked.
Yeah.
So you left, and this is where
Yes.
we ended. We ended right here because I remember exactly how episode 8 started.
Yep.
And so,
So do
like
we
we
want to cut out now and come back again?
yeah, it's a little shorter one, 20-minute one, but we're going to stop and reset the stream. If you're online, please don't go anywhere. We'll be literally back in 1 minute. According to Coward, I'm going to go poop. So we'll see.
A lot of pooping.
But hang out. We'll be back in literally 60 seconds.